Join Cornerstone 98. Oh, man. Boy, it's so pretty out today.
I said, shut up, boy.
Who? Well, it's so pretty.
I'm talking to you.
Boy, it's the prettiest day I've seen at Cornerstone this year.
I done
Who?
told
Who's
you to
this?
shut up.
Oh, stop. Oh, man. Oh, my arm. Oh, jeez. Oh, son of a. Oh.
Jamie noticed that.
And I got hit on by a really nasty guy. Thanks.
For real?
So embarrassed.
Yeah, how could I not be up after you yelling?
You want to stop being so cutesy?
Strands with black hair all over the wall in front of me.
Okay, I'm trying to eat.
It'll be just like the dorm room.
Just so guys know if they go in the shower.
I'm trying to eat.
Welcome to Real TV. I'm Josh Daly, and today we're live here at Cornerstone 98. We're going to have unprecedented footage of tragic events. Roll the footage.
Hey, hello, everybody. Hi, Adam. Hi, Jeremy. There's Chris over there.
What seems like a friendly gesture of tossing a snack treat to his hungry bird, buddy, turns into a tragic nightmare.
Hey, Adam, catch.
Great Caesar's ghost, are you all right? Somebody get an ambulance. Oh, shit. Call 911.
Oh.
Computer technology, we can get a close-up as the tragic event unfolds.
Great Caesar's ghost. Great Caesar's ghost.
Man catches it from over here.
Great Caesar's ghost.
In extreme slow motion, let's watch as the cookie makes impact. Then, another look at the mayhem.
Great Caesar's ghost.
Here note, we can see the ending to this tragic story. The young man is revived. He is revived. And he experiences the sweet taste of victory. Cookie crumbles, and we'll be right back.
Come on down.
Am I supposed to jump?
You're supposed to swing like a monkey in the hot windows.
On the other side?
Got a virtual dinosaur, kid. Hey.
Oh, smash!
All right, that was good. Start clapping.
What's your name?
We'll have to take two on this one.
What?
We'll have to take two on this one.
Get that on film?
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for the help, guys. There's a lot of trash here.
This.
not giving us much to work with, really.
Way to go, jackass. Get the car.
Bike out of our team.
You see that?
So today, on Real TV, what seemed like a good day to be a lazy sack turned out to be an afternoon of pure boredom. He thought maybe eating matches would be a good cure for his boredom. But this soon proved fatal. The boredom returned with a vengeance. Maybe eating crackers would be a good cure for his boredom. But this soon proved boring. This proved tasteless. So he tried chips. But soon the chips proved tasteless too, and he resumed boredom. Moving to less organic food, he tried the chair. Zach thought it might be a good idea to eat a sack, but this idea soon proved fatal, and we mean fatal literally.
Oh my gosh, he's dead. ¡Ay, Dios mío! Manzana. ¡Se ha muerto! ¡No, Dios mío!
No es bueno.
Huh?
Messages, I don't know, messages is the word, but in the Truman story,
Yeah.
everyone kind of got something different, which is okay, but one guy stood up and he said, well,
Are you mocking me?
he said, I think that
Ray, I'm not going to sleep now.
Man, get away.
Yeah.
It's funny, whatever you're filming, if it's not funny, we're throwing
Are you
it out.
hungry?
I'm telling you.
Look at Andrew with all the food. Is that not funny?
Oh yeah!
Don't stinker!
We could put it on someone's car.
They'll go cheesed off with it.
Hey, we can put it on each other.
Don't be stupid.
Let's put it on there.
Así que la investigación continúa.
Do something funny.
Come on, man. I'm not this real one. That's why I love it. This is called. This is called. I learned how to do that one. This is called the balancing act. I got a good one I can do, but my weight's a little picked up since I did it last. When you said that, I was trying to think, man, I know the trick. Is that the trick? Yeah, and I was like, what was it? It was that. Oh, man. Oh, man. How you spell
Mike, how about a hand? Oh man, that felt
I'll let the blow mark in.
Look at John down there.
Give me something to throw.
I can't believe it went all the way in the
Move, Mike. Whoa!
Throw that broken chair.
John
pickle
John
jar.
sends these masks yet?
Yeah, throw a pickle jar.
Drink all of it.
Oh, I keep going really far when I throw it hard.
Josh's car is laying by its back right tire.
You understand.
Yeah, he wanted me to give you this.
Now the last issue just came out actually, so it'll be a while. What are you doing?
We have them to come through over here, so I don't know what happened. So you coming in. What did you think when you walked around?
I didn't think nothing. I just figured you guys were being nice and just wanted to share the conversation.
In the van, down by the river.
Hey, why are you picking my stuff now?
Oh gosh! Why does it always have to be your stuff?
Because it's laying out in the middle of the place.
Hey! You all digging for treasure?
We're digging to China.
Are you digging for treasure?
We're digging for treasure.
Oh man! Hang on to your bike.
And it is gravelly here.
You got your bike.
Where's your bike at?
I got it. Okay. Man, Mike, you didn't get wet.
I know.
We did. There.
Jump off the thing.
A new Cornerstone Best Sport. Oh my, he's going real fast.
Yeah. That was the one.
I think the laughing wife is more funny.
Now we're talking. Throw her in there. Throw her in there. She's brutal. Throw her in there.
She grabbed on it.
I go, you're brutal.
Hey, you can push him down the hill. Watch my shoe, those are way too
Help John.
Drink with you.
Are you going in the water?
The sewage pipe.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Pascal.
Heck yeah, it is.
Are you the kid you're going to punch you down?
Oh,
Super high.
Dying a slow death.
Film it. Oh, are you?
She goes, don't hold me in there, I'm afraid of water.
Hey, so that's deep enough, don't you think?
Mike's just going, that's deep enough.
How about that white picture?
pick that up.
Hey, get that stick out of there so he doesn't hit it when he jumps in.
Where did that stick come from?
It was
Get
like,
that alligator out of the way.
Hurt, girls.
Hey, John, get the alligator out of the way when I jump in. Hey, John, since you're in there, can you get that alligator? Don't get her caught in a mosh. Oh, man. Dude,
You jerk!
losers. Why are you coming down the hill, man? Kidding. He's half Mexican.
All right.
Where's the bike?
Go this left. Straight.
Wasn't it fun? Wasn't it fun? It doesn't hurt either, does it?
Hey, right over there. Hey, go right
You need a bit of a
I see the bubbles now.
Yeah. Huh?
I see my bubbles now.
You must be proud. Man, we need a little ramp.
He's down.
You all right?
Huh? Not enough speed.
Are you all right?
You want me to like be up on it or? That was all.
He's over there, and he's hanging out some shorts. Watch this. Oh, man. Some shorts. Watch this.
I messed up.
Really close. We'll have that video. Okay, Jim. What's that coming from?
Big like spots on the roof that are holding it. You can see some still right there. That hurts so bad,
Wait, John, what your name is? Oh my God, Jeremy. Man, I was stunned after that happened. It was so awesome.
It was like the best thing ever.
He flew into that somersault.
You flew through the air like a rag doll.
You're like upside down, just flying through. I did that on purpose. You wash off my bike. I'm going to this shot.
Hi, this is Combat Chuck, and this is my, I believe, third year on this video series. And this year has been very unsuccessful for me with the ladies. I've gotten no digits. I think it's because of my excess weight gain. Hand down, thank you. Look at that. Whoa! I'm birthing a small cat. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can help me any way possible, I just want to say, it's going. Don't look at me. All right, thank you. I'm Combat Chuck. Good night.
Where's he at? This is stupid.
Hey, Adam!
Scary hair guys with their shirts off.
Never mind. Wrong one. This guy.
This girl goes, hey, dude. Hardcore people get beat down.
Anybody out there?
Mosh! Mosh! Now we have trash to kick the right here. Don't open it, it's mine. You got me everywhere. Man, I miss you so much.
Kizzy, come back home.
Amanda, I love you. Come here. Try to pick her up. I will. Come here, Amanda. Come here, girl. Come here.
Get her, Mandy, get her. Over there.
What? Get the
Okay,
partner.
well, I need to get all my presents right now.
She just keeps on going.
God,
a little too dangerous. Now, Schubert, Franz Schubert, the wonderful composer. He was a very poor composer. He wasn't a poor composer, he was a poor man. He was a fine composer, and here's his Serenade. Nay. I always have my glasses with me. You see, these are very lovely glasses. They're cut here, like Benjamin Franklin's, because I don't need glasses, so I can see over them when I look at them. But for now, I can get along without them anyway. That's the lovely theme, and nobody will know that, so we will cut out a little of this. That'll never be popular. You know, make it so that nobody will recognize it. Fine. Now we have a little blue here. Now, for our next edition, a little Debussy. Claude Debussy, the French composer by the same name. Claude Debussy, unfortunately, is dead, as you probably have heard. And I sincerely hope he is, because they buried him quite a few years ago. According to Ed Sullivan's column, of course. Incidentally, that also happened to Mrs. Debussy, I'm sorry to. The whole family. They were lovely people, fine people, but that's the way it goes. Well, I don't care, I have my own problems. I didn't even know them. But I happen to know a couple who lived here in New York, an elderly couple who knew them very, very well. They were very close to them like this, and they've known them for years. And they have told me all about it. It's very interesting to hear people sit and talk about such greatness being so far remote from them, and they really knew them well. Lovely. They hated them. Knew them well. Debussy. No wonder. Now we have a little Shostakovich. Shostakovich. Just a moment. We'll find it. Now here's a little Mozart, the greatest of them all. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Before I play this, I would like to show you a collector's item I have here. Very few people, which is the same as many few people. We'll get into French in a minute. Envy me this little collection here. This, ladies and gentlemen, in this little box is the first note that Wolfgang Mozart ever wrote in his life. Isn't that the cutest thing? Can you see it? Well, it doesn't matter. It's here anyway. And this is a B. Think of that little cute Mozart. This is the first note he ever wrote. And here I have, in the other hand, or now in the same hand, the last note Mozart wrote after 30 years in composing. Isn't that something? I'm thrilled with these two things. The second note is the C. And this is the last Mozart ever wrote. In other words, I have from his first note to his last note. actually, I don't think he went very far, do you? It's interesting anyway. Here we have some Strauss. Abraham Strauss. Oh, that's the same thing that always happens when I play that number. This is a good one. This we will use, where's my picklet? We will use this. Take the center out of it so we can make a little pause here. We need some more of that, and here it is. Strauss. Yeah, we take a little random here, and a little random here, a little random here. Now we need the ending, and we will take the ending from any opera. Here's a nice thing from the opera Carmen. Last act. Here's what we have. Now I shall go over to the maestro and ask the orchestra to play it with me. This is the Blue Serenade by Strauss, by Schubert, isn't it? Yes, and the Blue Danube by Strauss. We will put them together, play it as a waltz, and call it the Blue Serenade by Schubert. Here's your score. Gentlemen, get over here. When you're ready, Maestro, we will play the Blue Serenade by Schubert.
I'm afraid that's all we have. The original kinescope was broken and now it's lost. Hopefully, we'll be able to find it and complete the piece in the future.
I told you about a surprise I have. After the sale of over 3 million videos, many people around the globe have seen the young lady who I'm going to introduce now. You have seen her, and many millions who have watched the video have seen her. So welcome, Miss Marilyn Mulvey.
Thank you very much. Hello, how are you?
Lovely skirting. Does this change color? Marilyn used to sing the Caranommi from the opera. Yeah, from the opera.
Making that so.
And you'll never learn it. As a matter of fact, Marilyn's uncle, this is why I asked her to participate here. Married, was married, your uncle?
Yes.
Was that on your mother's side or your father's?
It was
on both sides, yeah.
Yeah.
Marilyn's uncle is an archaeologist and has been archaeologizing in the very deep south.
Actually, he was in South America.
In South America, the deep. That's the deep south. Okay, it's much deeper.
No.
You run into mountains, ice. He found in a monkery some.
No, it was a
nunnery. When they used to call them nunneries, monastery, yeah. In the mid ages. Yeah. So you can say nunnery. Why can't you say monkery? Well, I don't know. That's what it was. And he found some old folk songs for some of the old folks down there. And he brought them to Marilyn to sing. And she has sung numbers of, I remember, he was the one who had the bad accident. Yeah. Gosh, is it better now?
Oh, he's much better. Yeah. Thank you.
He was run over by a steamroller. And I remember visiting him in the hotel, in the hospital. He was in rooms 28, 29, 30. Yeah. Now, what, there are a number of folk songs, the ones he brought out, and Marilyn sings them beautiful. Which one have you decided to sing?
I don't know, I was going to ask you which one we should do tonight.
Oh, sing the one you like the most.
My favorite.
Your favorite?
All right.
Good.
Yep.
Because I'm going to play the one I like. Ready?
Oh, yeah.
Any particular key?
I think just...
Or you don't care?
No, it's just the same one.
No. Oh, you don't want to sing it way
No,
out
I'm
there.
not down.
Now, which one was the one I like? Oh. Too late.
I thought they were...
You don't know that. Well, we have to play one you know. How about... Oh, that's a lovely... One of my favorites, I heard you sing that one. Falling Leaves.
Autumn leaves?
Autumn Leaves.
Autumn leaves.
You sing that?
I'd like to. All right.
We'll be back shortly with more. Victor Borga, Then and Now 3.
Your generous pledge of financial support will help this public television station stay on the air and keep bringing you the best in broadcast performing. So please call the number on your screen. The volunteers are waiting to hear from you right now. Don't disappoint them. Call now.
Hello, I'm Bob Gehrig, General Manager of WSIU TV. This past year, you have heard our repeated calls for help in response to drastic federal funding cuts. In the past few weeks, you may have received a letter from me or seen other messages from me regarding our current financial situation and some of the options we are faced with as we approach the end of our fiscal year. Part of the problem in our overall funding is our member base. On a national average, 1 in 10 public television viewers support their local PBS station. Here in Southern Illinois, our viewer-to-member ratio drops to an alarming 1 in 20. Research from Nielsen indicates there are substantial numbers of viewers of this station. So the type of programming we air is not the problem. We simply need to turn our station users into members. Without proper funding from our viewers, WSIU may become a much different television station. To enable this valued television service to continue in its current form, call now or send your contribution to this address. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Lou Metzger, your host for this week's Lawrence Welk Show. Here are some highlights.
They're a smile that make us happy. They're a smile that make us blue. They're a smile that steal away the teardrops.
Next time on Frontline, the film critics have called an epic. This is the story you didn't see about the students who fought for democracy. Tiananmen, the gate of heavenly peace. On Frontline.
On the next edition of One-on-One, Hollywood film producer Robert Weiss discusses the making of his madcap comedy, Naked Gun 33 1/3.
What set piece, what establishment thing, what's representative of authority that Leslie Nielsen can turn upside down?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to present the...
We're here to prevent a disaster.
You're too late for that.
A public service of Southern Illinois University. This is Channel 8, WSIU Carbondale.
Welcome back to Victor Borga, Then and Now 3.
I'm very pleased to perform with the Washington Philharmonic Orchestra. We will play the Galop by whoever wrote it. Kabalevsky, if you really want to know.
Buenas noches, concert lovers, and welcome to another great Thursday night music fight. Tonight, the program features a mano-to-mano battle between the colorful Danish pianero Vittorio Borgoletti and the famous Norwegian composer Eduardo Grieg. Here he comes now, the pianero, Vittorio Borgoletti. Bandy-legged one. They're bringing out the brave piano Vittorio will work with. This great beast was bred for this moment. Studying that steinway again, noticing how the top hooks to the right is defying it, playing with it like a cat with a cucaracha. Brilliant, brilliant. Ole! I believe he's going to test it now. He's going in over the horns for this one. Beautiful!
We had a housekeeper for a number of years. But 2 years ago, she left to go to Puerto Rico and marry a fireman in the Puerto Rican fire department. And we get a postcard from her once in a while. And the last postcard told us that she was still very happy with her fireman husband and that she had given birth to twins, 2 boys. And you know what she calls them? Jose and Jose. Yep. I know that some of you are waiting for me to fall off this seat here. But I don't do that anymore because I hurt my elbow and my arm, and the doctor has forbidden me to do it. And now I have another doctor, and he doesn't like it either, but... There's no need. Clear the saloon, Mr. Bell. One second, please. I'm sorry, but... Here's a clip I found in my basement. I don't remember if I lost it or hid it.
Wonder what happened to the white teeth. Oh. So, ladies and gentlemen, son of an auto with 7, come and left. This, of course, changes the entire program. I have found that half an audience normally likes a little of this.
While the American Exchange Index gained almost a point. Washington today became the 9th state to sue tobacco companies with its suit targeting 7 of them in the contention they knew but hid information indicating nicotine is addictive and that tobacco products can be deadly. For more financial news, tune into the Nightly Business Report weekdays on this public television station.
What we do
Okay, guys, listen up.
is the most important job I can think of.
You've got a flight control check.
Bad flight is a big part of what makes a trip good or bad.
The captain has turned on the fasten seatbelt.
And a good flight isn't the same for everybody.
So everybody pulls their weight.
34-minute turnaround on this.
Everyone knows the drill.
One airline has over 80,000 people who understand what it takes to be something special.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you aboard American Airlines.
A public service of Southern Illinois University. This is Channel 8, WSIU Carbondale.
Presentation of this program was made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by annual financial support from viewers like you.
On a North American lake, suspended between sunset and the night, a haunting call pierces the stillness. Compounded of the spirit of all wild places, it is the voice of the loon, one of the most beautiful migratory birds. The call is an ancient one, stretching further back in time than ourselves. It has been mistaken for the howl of a wolf. To the Cree Indians, it was the anguished cry of a dead warrior, denied entry into paradise. The winter lakes are dumb with ice, their shores bound tight by snow. Few creatures can live in this frigid landscape. Many spend the winter in the warmer south. Those that stay must find their food beneath ice and snow. Raccoons only emerge to feed during rare moments when winter loosens its grip. Starvation stalks these cold, cruel months, especially if snows are deep or crusted hard with ice. The common loons, or great northern divers, are spending the winter along the coast, at home on the ocean swell. At this time of the year, the loons and their cousins, the red-throated divers, share the same waves in a loose flock. The smaller redthroats breed in Arctic tundra lakes and will return to the coast to fish, even throughout the summer. Loons seem to lose their identity while at sea, silent and skulking in drab winter plumage. They even molt all their flight feathers and are unable to fly. Only when they reach the still waters of a summer lake will the loons regain their grace and their voice. Young loons remain at sea for the first 2 or 3 years. As April approaches on the lakes to the far north, river waters swell as snow melts further upstream. Black bears grumble awake from their winter sleep and begin to forage for grubs or moss. The ice is on the retreat. Patches of open water pattern the lakes. Finally, the last skin of ice breaks out. Soon the lake will lie liquid, still, and expectant. Hundreds of miles to the south, along the coast, the loons too have been transformed and are now flaunting their summer plumage. Some mysterious sense tells them that the lakes which lie far to the north are opening to receive. Loons have the smallest wings in proportion to their weight of any flying bird. Their bones are heavy and solid. They usually need a wet runway of at least 1/4 mile before they can leave the water. Once airborne, they are able to maintain a steady 75 miles per hour. Their journey north takes days or even weeks. They stop occasionally to fish and rest on open lakes on the way. When the glaciers of the last ice age retreated northwards across America, they left behind a vast region of cold, clear lakes. The loon followed the retreating ice to breed in those new and rich waters. Ever since, loons wintering at sea have continued to head northwards and inland to their breeding lakes. Human population pressure has continued to drive them north into small pockets across the top of the United States and Canada. Every year, the lakes call them back to breed. Unerringly, they return to the same place, and they will do this as long as they live, maybe for 20 or 30 years. The loon's timing is so accurate that they seldom return later than 5 days after the ice has left the lake. Often, it is on the same day. It is the males which usually arrive first. It's important to fly in as early as possible and lay claim to the best nesting and feeding territories. There's no time to waste. The loons have little over 7 months to raise a family before the ice drives them south once more. Rival loons dispute these territorial boundaries. The birds dip their heads beneath the surface to check that no one is launching an underwater assault. As tension builds, the dominant birds adopt their most aggressive posture, bill poised to attack front on. may range from a small bay of around 20 acres to an entire lake of 100 or 200 acres. The loons are looking for suitable nest sites, clear, well-stocked water, and a sheltered nursery area. Finding and holding these vital things is what the aggression is all about. But the loons do not have exclusive rights. This pair of ospreys also return to the same lake year after year. They are repairing their old nest, high in the crown of a tree overlooking the lake. Ospreys do not breed until they are at least 3 years old, but they may form pairs and even practice nest building during the first couple of years. The loon's territorial calls echo deep into the forest, which presses on the lake on all sides. The call of the loon is the sound of springtime, as evocative as the scent of forest flowers. It competes with the sound of a male ruffed grouse trying to attract a mate, drumming the air with rapidly beating wings. Loons might be expected to have some spectacular courtship display to match their dramatic plumage, but loon courtship is low-key. This may be because the birds already know each other from the previous year. There is no need for the male to overexert himself. The male osprey doesn't have such an easy time. For several weeks he has to lug large branches to the nest to impress the female before egg-laying can begin. Again, loons seem to have a much more casual approach. They throw weed over their shoulders in a rather half-hearted way, indicating their intention to nest. Great blue herons have also returned to their colony on the lake. They nest in tall trees, protected from predators by a natural moat. The herons have laid their eggs earlier than the loons, and many are already incubating a full clutch in their large, untidy nests. The loon's humble pile of debris can hardly be called a nest. They always build close to the water's edge. Sometimes loons nest too close to the water, and spring rains or the wash of boats submerge the eggs. Islands are particularly favored sites, as they are protected from egg stealers, such as skunks or raccoons. But natural islands are in short supply, because on many lakes the shoreline has been taken over by holiday homes. Local people now want to encourage loons to nest on their lakes. They build artificial loon islands out of cedar logs and hope that a homeless pair will adopt them. In New Hampshire, nearly 20% of loons are now nesting on artificial islands. The floating island has other advantages. It rises and falls with the water level. The nest won't sink in heavy rain or become stranded if dams or drought should lower the water. incubating loons will have to tolerate summer storms and burning sun. The 2 eggs are rarely left unattended. Loon eggs are large for the bird's size, but large eggs hold heat better than small ones. They are less likely to chill. Loons may accept the artificial islands local people provide, but other human activity is not welcome while the loons are in residence. Many lakes are heavily used by holidaymakers, who are often unaware of the threat they pose to incubating loons. Loon language is all too easily misunderstood. When a loon stretches its neck out, it is trying to defend its nest. If the threat continues, the loon may desert the nest. The height of summer brings another trial for the incubating birds. Beneath the fast-flowing water of the shallow streams which feed the lake, a species of black fly larvae are hatching out. This species has evolved a taste only for the blood of common loons. They will attack no other birds. The black fly time their emergence to coincide with the loon's incubation period, when the loon is unable to leave her eggs to escape the blood-sucking insects. Once at the surface, they must fly immediately or drown. The sitting loon can only shake her head to disturb the cloud of biting flies until her mate comes to relieve her at the nest. Both male and female incubate the eggs, changing over at regular intervals. During the breeding season, they have an increased blood supply to the abdomen, so that extra heat reaches the eggs. To see a loon struggle the short distance to its eggs is to understand why they nest so close to the water's edge. The name loon may come from the Scandinavian word lom, meaning lame or clumsy. After sitting for so many hours, the mate can now indulge in a long preening session, carefully anointing each feather with oil from the preen gland. It is essential to keep the tiny veins on the feathers well zipped up and waterproofed. The price of unkempt feathers is death by chilling from the cold water. The female loon has taken over for this night watch. Normally she will sit tight, but if she is disturbed by people and deserts the nest while her mate is on the open lake, her eggs may fall victim to predators. The raccoon population has doubled around many lakes because of the easy pickings from rubbish dumps near holiday homes. This in turn increases the risk to loons. On some lakes, almost all the loon eggs are destroyed by raccoons. If this happens early on in the season, the loons often lay a second clutch. Remote lakes, unfrequented by people, have a far lower population of raccoon hangers-on. Loons nesting in those lakes are less likely to be disturbed. and leave their eggs unguarded. At night, the males patrol their territories, announcing their presence with spine-tingling wails, yodels, and tremolo calls. Every male has a unique yodel, which allows other loons to identify him in the dark or at a distance. A voice fingerprint. Early man, pausing by the side of a northern lake, would have heard the same haunting calls. Perhaps it's this link with our past which gives the cry of the loon such a hold on the human imagination. It reaches into the soul, like a voice from an age of wildness and stillness, when the forests were broken only by the quiet eyes of the lakes. It is the longest day of the year, and the first loon chick has hatched. As soon as it is dry, the young chick is called onto the water by an attentive parent. The adult removes the eggshell. It might attract predators to the nest, where the remaining egg has still to hatch. Within seconds of entering the water, the chick tries to dive, but it is too buoyant and bobs to the surface like a cork. The adult pair watch anxiously, like any parents, as their first hatching of the season takes its first swim. Water is the element for which a loon is fashioned. If frightened, a loon doesn't take to the air. It will always dive. The torpedo-shaped body cleaves the water like a spear. Webbed feet provide the propulsion, and the tail steers the bird in graceful twists and turns. During the first few days, the chick is fed on insect larvae and minnows. For their small size, chicks have deceptively large appetites. It's estimated that a pair of loons must catch half a ton of fish to feed themselves and 2 chicks during the summer breeding season. High above the loons on the lake, another pair of birds are also struggling to feed 2 voracious chicks. Unlike ground nesting loons, these osprey chicks will remain safely in the comfort of their treetop nest without fear of predation until they are ready to fly. It's mainly the female who cares for the chicks and feeds them. The male spends most of his time hunting for fish to bring to the nest, making as many as 4 or 5 visits a day. The loons on the artificial island have also seen their first chick hatch. It too is about to take to the water for the first time. But as the chick splashes noisily after the adult, an ominous shape breaks the water's surface. Snapping turtles and northern pike prowl the lower depths of the lake. A young loon chick is easy prey, as long as the parent is far enough away. The parent returns to the chick just in time, dipping its head to check the water below. Even a hungry turtle is no match for an adult loon. The safest place for a tiny loon chick is on an adult's back. During the first 10 days of their lives, chicks are more vulnerable to chilling than predation. Catching a ride also helps to keep a chick warm and dry. The female has remained behind on the nest, brooding the second egg, which is just beginning to hatch. It is only during these long periods of immobility on land that it's possible to see the loon's entire plumage clearly. The striking pattern has given rise to myths everywhere the loon is found. One Native American legend describes how a blind man went to a loon for help. Loon told him to hold on to his feathers as they dived into the water. When they returned to the surface, the man could see again. In gratitude, he threw the loon a shell necklace, which marked the loon's black feathers with white splashes. The loon's dazzling plumage, so conspicuous on land, merges into dancing, splintered reflections of light once on the water. The second chick finally emerges from its shell, piercing it with the egg tooth, which it will lose soon after hatching. At last, this loon family is complete. Again, the adult takes the same care with the removal of the eggshell, as the second chick will have to remain on the nest for several hours to dry before taking to the water. But when the younger chick swims over to join the rest of the family, it soon becomes apparent that there are tensions. One day's extra food and growth has given the older chick an advantage over the newcomer. Now both must compete for the adult's attention. The older chick tries to drive the younger away, launching a vicious attack. The parents do not come to its rescue. The younger bird immediately adopts a submissive posture, which also protects its head from attack. Even so, it's been hurt. Despite these early battles, most second chicks survive the aggression of the first few weeks. Young loons do not always reach adulthood, though most chicks that have come this far will at least live through the summer. The parents shuttle the chicks away from the nest to a shallow nursery area at a far corner of the loon's territory, where the young loons will be sheltered from high winds and waves. The lake is now at its most productive, teeming with insect larvae and fish fry. On the lake shore, too, the forests are equally fruitful. The birch tree's sap, rich in sugars, is readily exploited by sapsuckers. These woodpeckers hammer out rows of surprisingly regular holes to reach the sap. If a tree is visited regularly, the vital flow of sap to the upper branches will be cut off, and the tree will die. The oozing sweetness attracts insects, many of which get trapped in the drying syrup and provide a meal for birds and other animals. Even squirrels pay regular visits to feed on the energy-rich sap. But inadvertently, the sapsuckers play an even more important role. The ruby-throated hummingbird also breeds this far north because the sapsuckers have released this source of sugar to them. The birch sap bridges the gap in spring before the flowers, which are the hummingbird's normal source of nectar, come into bloom. And of course, the flowers themselves would not be here if the hummingbirds were not there to pollinate them. The lakeside forests provide a source of food and building materials for even larger animals, beavers. The beaver family is looking after this spring's litter. The young beavers will remain with their parents for the next couple of years before leaving for a lake of their own. It is important for the adult pair to make regular checks on the territory to prevent a takeover by other beavers and to teach the young how to maintain the dams, lodges and feeding grounds that lie within the colony's domain. Unlike loons, the beavers remain on the lake throughout the winter. The lodge, built from layers of wood, mud and other debris, will give protection from the worst of the weather. Before winter, the roof is smeared with mud, which will freeze into an impenetrable layer. Much of the material used to build the lodge comes from branches which were first cut and peeled by the beavers when they ate the bark. It was the industry of these beavers which created the ideal conditions for the heronry on the lake. As the beavers dammed the lake, the water level began to rise and swamped the roots of trees, drowning them in the process. The herons soon took over the dead stump. Though herons feed huge quantities of regurgitated fish to their young, they do not compete with loons because they catch much larger fish. Human fishermen do threaten loons. In the Great Lakes, diving loons frequently get caught in trap nets at depths of over 100 feet and drown. Every year, many loons die through accidentally swallowing hooks or lead weights. Hooks lodge in the gullet, preventing the bird from feeding. Lead accumulates in the body and slowly poisons the loons. It is during this period, when the young loons are growing up, that the lakes become even more crowded. If the adults spend too much time defending their chicks from intruding boats, they will be distracted from their main task of keeping young appetites satisfied. As the chicks become more independent, the behavior of the adults begins to change. At set times in the day, they leave their territories or even fly to another lake to join other adult loons in social gatherings. At first, there is some aggression as the birds get used to each other. As other birds join the group, hoots are replaced by tremolo calls, and the entire party of birds begins to cruise around together. Often the loon tenant of the territory will give a guided tour of his domain. These late summer gatherings continue into September, growing larger all the time. Nobody is quite sure what purpose they serve. By 11 weeks, the downy coat of the young loon has been replaced by a drab grey plumage. On some lakes, loons don't pollute the water with dropping. Instead, young loons learn to visit a favorite latrine on shore. Loon droppings are rich in minerals and salts. As they dry, the droppings become a butterfly salt lick. The next few weeks are the last chance the adults have to perfect their offspring's fishing technique. For soon the adults will be leaving the lakes and heading south. The young birds will stay behind for the next couple of months, gaining strength in waters they have come to know intimately. The young bird follows alongside, watching the adult. They often remain submerged for as long as a minute in pursuit of perch, trout, or minnows. But fish stocks in many lakes are now wiped out by acid rain. Over 200 Adirondack lakes in New York State are already without fish, and without loons. The acidity also releases metals, such as mercury, aluminium, and lead, from the soil, rocks, and sediments. These toxic metals enter the food chain of all fish-eating mammals and birds, including loons. This pollution is almost invisible until it is too late. Many lakes are crystal clear because there is nothing living in them. Even threatened forests appear as magnificent as ever as they turn to autumn gold. Squirrels are quick to take advantage of the abundant harvest of hickories and acorns, burying supplies for the winter ahead. The beavers have also been collecting larders of branches beneath the water and repairing the lodge and dam. Soon, the cold weather and ice will drive them to the shelter of the lodge. As the trees' fiery leaves fall, adult loons too begin to lose their bright plumage in the autumn molt. The first feathers are lost from the base of the bill, chin, and forehead. As the year turns, all the loons will be in grey winter plumage, dressed to match the autumn mists. The Canada geese are on the moon. Unlike geese, loons do not fly in formation. By now, there should be no excuse for huntsmen to shoot a loon by mistake, but many loons still carry shot. Even as late as the 1950s, many sportsmen considered it their duty to shoot all cormorants and loons. They accused them of stealing game fish. Now it is illegal to shoot loons, and attitudes are changing. As wild places become scarcer, people feel increasingly privileged to see and hear a living loon, rather than bring home a dead trophy. An entire loon industry has grown up to serve the growing appetites of lakeside summer residents for loon memorabilia. This consumer boom hides a deeper concern for loons and their well-being. Loon preservation groups have sprung up across the northern lake belt of the United States and Canada. It's as if people know that by protecting the loon, they are showing concern for all wild and threatened places. By the end of October, most lakeside holidaymakers have gone, along with the last of the adult loons. The remaining loons must leave now, or risk being trapped by ice as it moves in again across the lake. Young loons' practice flights suddenly take on a new urgency. A sudden cold snap can cut off the loon's vital runway of open water, leaving it stranded in an ever-tightening noose of ice. Most young loons make it, but sometimes there is a bird which leaves it too late. A loon caught on the ice will freeze to death within a few hours or be taken by a predator. But locals are aware of the danger and keep a constant lookout for stranded loons at this time of year. This young loon was lucky. After careful feeding, it was released to continue its migration south towards open water. In a few years, this loon will itself make the spring journey to the northern lakes, which now lie mute and icebound, waiting for the loon's first call to release them from silence.
Join us Sunday for a unique look into the world of sex and discover how natural forces such as the sun, moon, and weather affect courtship and behavior on Nature at 7. On Tuesday, Nova journeys to East Africa and the summit of ice-capped Mount Kilimanjaro, where nature flaunts its extraordinary power to survive, adapt, and even flourish. Nova begins Tuesday at 7, only on WSIU and WUSI.
Presentation of this program was made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by annual financial support from viewers like you.
This is PBS.
Hello, I'm Bob Garrick, General Manager of WSIU TV. This past year, you have heard our repeated calls for help in response to drastic federal funding cuts. In the past few weeks, you may have received a letter from me or seen other messages from me regarding our current financial situation and some of the options we are faced with as we approach the end of our fiscal year. Part of the problem in our overall funding is our member base. On a national average, 1 in 10 public television viewers support their local PBS station. Here in Southern Illinois, our viewer-to-member ratio drops to an alarming 1 in 20. Research from Nielsen indicates there are substantial numbers of viewers of this station. So the type of programming we air is not the problem. We simply need to turn our station users into members. Without proper funding from our viewers, WSIU may become a much different television station. To enable this valued television service to continue in its current form, call now or send your contribution to this address. Thank you.
WSIU would like to express sincere thanks to all who helped make the 1996 Friends of WSIU Fantasy Auction a success. This year's auction was made possible through generous support from Marion Ford Lincoln Mercury, together with D.R. Hancock & Company, Crisp and Clear Premium Drinking Water by Pepsi, Rock 105 TAO, and Borgs Miller Travels. We appreciate the contributions of our donors and guests in making this an evening to remember. Mark your calendar for the next Friends of WSIU Fantasy Auction.
When early man and nomadic tribes set out to discover the world, as he knew it, he had severe limitations, like falling off the edge of the earth or being eaten by a wild animal. Today, our nomadic instincts are satisfied not by the search for food, but by simply discovering an experience or going on an adventure. For many, that adventure is Montana, big sky country. Montana is history, not just to be read about in books, but to be discovered firsthand. General Custer stood in a lot of places, but here he stood the longest, for this is the Little Bighorn, and it was his last stand. Montana is Native America, home of the Blackfeet, the Sioux, Cheyenne, Gros Ventre, Assiniboine, Chippewa, Cree, Salish, Kootenai, and the Crow. Here you can experience history and powwow amongst the diverse culture and custom of Indian tribes. Montana is culture from the wildest of Wests, home to the C.M. Russell Museum in Great Falls. Montana is adventure as discovered by explorers Lewis and Clark and rediscovered by thousands each year. Montana is filled with hidden treasures, including landscapes described as rim rocks, buttes, and badlands. Montana is natural beauty, just waiting to be experienced. The northern Rockies and lush valleys of flowing wheat. Montana is the place where man has made a statement to preservation so that we could all come forever and see how nature had intended us to see her world. Glacier and Yellowstone National Parks are nature preserved with bison and elk, birds and bear, geothermal geysers, alpine peaks, and spectacular waterfalls. Montana is legendary for sport fishing. There are hundreds of miles of blue ribbon trout streams that await both fly and rod, and the challenge and excitement of unfished waters. Too quiet for you? Then come ride a bronco at one of our many rodeos, or ride a wild bull without a saddle. Or maybe just be a spectator and enjoy some of the toughest athletes in the West. When the leaves change in Montana, the big country is never more spectacular than when the aspen, dogwood, and willow produce a kaleidoscope of color and signal the oncoming snow. Montana's perfect powder falls on 14 downhill ski areas, offering you grand resorts and cozy mountain hideaways, cross-country skiing, and 3,000 miles of marked, groomed snowmobile trails to ride. Montana is snow country. Montana beckons all that wish to explore, to be aggressive on its slopes, and yet gentle with its wildlife. Adventurous on its trails, and yet careful on its mountains. To cradle the culture of our people, and to enjoy the freedom of Montana. It is yours, waiting to be explored.
Coming up on POV.
Underdogs are what America is all about.
He's never held public office. He's never run a campaign. And if that weren't enough...
Is this what politics is all about?
He's taking on the Kennedys.
open road to the American dream. Great drives. Maria Conchita Alonso takes A1A down Florida's Atlantic coast, where she gets up front and personal. A1A is Florida's lifeline. Great drives.
Channel 8, WSIU Carbondale. Programs you and your family enjoy on WSIU TV are made possible by viewers like you and First Cellular of Southern Illinois, providing a wide range of cellular products and cellular telephone service for businesses, professionals, and individuals throughout Southern Illinois. First Cellular is proud to support quality family programming on WSIU TV 8.
Due to subject matter contained in the following program, viewer discretion is advised.
Tonight, on Frontline, for the first time on television, the film critics have called an epic. Powerful, enthralling, and devastating. Now, the story you didn't see about the students who fought for democracy and the events that gripped the world. Tiananmen, the gate of heavenly peace. On Frontline.
Funding for Frontline is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by annual financial support from viewers like you. This is Frontline.
Major funding for this program is provided by the National Endowment for the Humanities, the Ford Foundation, and the Rockefeller Foundation. Additional funding is provided by the following.
June 3rd, 1989, tanks and armored vehicles of the People's Liberation Army moved into Beijing and put an end to 7 weeks of peaceful protest.
After the shooting on the night of June 3rd, when I found out that so many people had died, I felt neither anger nor sorrow. Nothing. I was completely numb. There was a huge emptiness. I just couldn't believe they would open fire.
In the first few days after my son was killed, many friends, colleagues, and students came to express their sympathy. They all said that soon the official verdict would be overturned. But as investigations and arrests began, fewer and fewer people came to see me. When people ran into me, they were silent. It was as though nothing had ever happened. On the morning of June 5th, there was a moment that would come to symbolize all that had happened during those spring days. He disappeared into the crowd afterwards, and no one knows where he is now. No one is even certain of his name. But for the millions who saw this scene all over the world, its meaning was clear. Here was human hope and courage, challenging the remorseless machinery of state power. The Chinese government interpreted the scene just as simply, but differently.
稍有常识的人都会看出，如果我们的铁骑继续前进，这个螳臂挡车的歹徒难道能够阻挡得了吗？摄像机 拍下的这个画面，同西方某些国家的宣传恰恰相反，正好说明了我们的军队保持了最大限度的克制。
In the days after the end of the protests at Tiananmen, large numbers of people were arrested all over China.
I heard the government's most wanted list on the radio.